sport being leveraged for the social good and the sending out of moral messages. Simon, I know a big thing for you. This fella goes on, I won't take the words out of your mouth, Simon, but Simon's stance would be the sporting playing field is only for sport. Only for sport. Where do you stand in that, Russell? I mean, we've had no to knife crime and the all-white Arsenal kits. Shelters No Home Kit campaign, wear the away kit, and that raises awareness for homelessness, and on it goes. Qatar and the One Love armbands at the World Cup. I mean, where do you stand in that?
You're raising a point that's coming up again and again in our culture. It's this, that people are rejecting centralised authority. Who has the authority to dictate which messages are carried, which messages are deemed important, which messages are ignored?
That's not the point, Russell.
Yes, it is.
No,
because
it's
for a long time, it's Simon.
Delivery. It's the method of delivery, mate.
Simon, don't you Martin Keown me. Don't you Martin Keown me, mate. Right, because this is what I'm saying, is who would... When Irish players have to wear the poppy or whatever, and they feel like, hang about, I don't want to wear this poppy because of my nation's relationship with the British military.
Right,
and
I've got a great...
Absolutely, and I've got a great deal of respect for anyone that's done service. That level of discipline and sacrifice, I've got nothing but admiration for them. So if we accept that certain symbols can be carried, or national anthems...
That's a false argument, though, isn't it?
No, it's not a false argument, Simon.
Because the poppy symbolises the liberation of everybody, all ethnicities, all persuasions, all sexes,
you've
all
determined what that symbol means.
No,
What
I've determined
okay,
its
so
origin
maybe
and its
rainbow
genesis.
laces symbolise liberty of everyone, or maybe taking the knee.
No, it doesn't.
I actually agree with you. I
It
don't know why I'm
doesn't,
arguing with this geezer. I don't know how marriage is going to work out. Look, what I'm saying is you have to. Who arbitrates which symbols are going to be carried? If you're going to play the national anthem, why play the national anthem?
Nobody.
If you're going to wear, if you're going to have poppies.
This debate isn't about arbitration. It's about where it's appropriate to impart this wisdom.
Who decides where it's appropriate? Because that's where willpower lies. I say, I think Poppy Day is important, but there is a counter-argument that it's the celebration of imperialism.
The idea of sport, because sport was created more to do with entertainment, enjoyment, and taking people away from the travails and challenges of life.
So don't have the national anthem then. Don't have the national anthem.
But we don't tend to at every single game, do we?
I think our brothers and sisters out in Liverpool would agree with that the national anthem's not something they want to hear when they're celebrating their city and their culture.
So if I can jump in, do you mind when certain groups of people make a stand at certain footballing occasions, like the Liverpool fans booing the anthem over the King's coronation weekend?
I respect them. I understand why the people of Liverpool...
the coronation was happening, and some of the Liverpool fans, well, mostly all of them, booed it.
Because the Liverpool fans have a particular relationship with the establishment, because of the death of 97, because of the injustices that followed that, and they're going to have a very particular perspective on what power means to the people of Liverpool. And you can appreciate and respect that. But then you have to look at... So that's that particular issue.
Well,
elsewhere...
you don't have to respect it. You can understand it. You don't have to respect the fact that they associate what the Tories did in Liverpool in the 1980s to some sort of affirmation from the royal family. It's a ridiculous comparison. But if they want to have it, you have to respect their views for having it.
Simon,
or understand it more to the point.
Answer me this simple question, my good man. What do you think the royal family represents? Sorry to talk over you. I apologise.
Go on, Russell.
That's not tangential. If football is going to be... If you're going to interrogate the symbols, then interrogate all of them. I happen to agree with you that football should just be football, and what emerges from it naturally should be... You shut up. And what emerges from it should be respected. You can see the culture that's coming out of football. West Ham are massive everywhere we go. You can see it's about a particular kind of unity. You can see it means stuff to people.
That's not a culture, it's a delusion.
Pardon?
The West Ham are massive everywhere we go.
Hold on a minute. We've got a lovely vase. Let me show you. Let me take you to the London Stadium. There's some chrysanthemums in a very lovely... Let me take you on an open bus tour of Stratford. There's going to be an open top bus all round Stratford.
So to get this right, you think this sport should only be for sports, so you're in agreement with him?
I actually do agree, but what I would say is interrogate all of the symbols. Like, if you're going to say don't do one symbolic gesture, what other symbolic gestures are? Because otherwise you might not have missed them, because you're used to them symbolic gestures, because you've been fed them your whole life. You've been told real power becomes invisible. You don't question it because you don't know it's there. We notice when there's changes.
What was your instant reaction? What was your instant reaction, Russell, when you saw the Just Stop Oil boys jumping on the snooker table?
I think
at the Snooker World Championship.
Well, it's a fantastic bloody case because the issue is important, but the means of raising the issue is likely to agitate people. And this is one of the things with all of that Extinction Rebellion, jumping up and down on tube trains where people are trying to get to work. In my view, that's not the correct target for an important issue. Bothering people who are trying to get to work, people who have got enough economic problems, people who are driving for a living, people who have to get where they're going for a living. Agitating them is the wrong focus. So that's not the way to bring people together to confront power.
So what
First,
is the
we
way?
have to identify the target.
Was the snooker disruption the way?
I don't believe. Look,
Or did you
I'm
think
sure
that was
they've
wrong?
got their own agenda. I'm sure they've investigated their methods. But if I was in charge, then that would not be the way that I would pursue it.
Do you think they do more harm to their campaign than good?
I would
by
say,
choosing, like jumping on the race courses at racehorse meetings.
I think I recognise the significance of the issues they're trying to raise. Just Stop Oil.
Yeah.
Very, very important. I would look at how Just Stop Oil is funded. I would also look at how Just Stop
But I'll
Oil
still fence
is.
that in.
I believe that some of the refunding, at least, comes from some interesting sources. It's worth investigating that. The Gettys, for example. And I would also look at how it's reported. And this is perhaps the most important thing. Because of the constant reporting of the agitation of these protesters, I wouldn't be at all surprised if in the coming weeks we hear new protest laws introduced to shut down on protesters. Oh yeah, them annoying protesters blocking up the bloody roads. Oh, but how else might these protest laws be used? People on strike because they're not earning enough money on the railways or teaching or in the caring professions. Suddenly a raft of new laws have been passed. The protest laws that were recently ushered through government when we were all distracted by something else. So just stay awake, stay alert. If you spot a rule, break it.
Oh, if you spot a rule, break it.
Not always, because some regulations are there for good. But I'd like to be democratically involved in those rules.
The actual summation of this conversation is like the Brian Clough moment, where we have a debate, we have a disagreement, and we start from the beginning realising that I was right in the first place.
I think you're Don Revy in this. I'm Clough, you're Revy.
You're Austin, the interviewer.
Russell's in a rule-breaking mood. Stay with us. We're live in talkSPORT.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.